All right, good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? So we got some data coming out. Let me just pull up the economic calendar. See what we got. What's up, Empathy? Robert, how you doing? Good morning. So let's see what we got. In an hour, we have time is at 9 o'clock. So 10 o'clock. 5-year inflation expectations, consumer expectations, inflation expectations. So nothing really too important. PC came out a little bit earlier at 8:30. So most important news for the day is kind of done. Let me just turn this fan off. Okay, sorry about that. Any sleep? Definitely better. Definitely better. So QQQ up 1.2% here in pre-market. This low, it looks fantastic, right? We have this previous support, right? Bounced numerous times, bounced off of it, moved up to this previous support here, acted as a new resistance, came back down, retested, right? Broke above again on that gap up and pulled back, and it retested again as a new support, right? So now we have this support here, bounced a few times here, and now it bounced here, right? So this is creating this big flag, and it bounced off of this. So everything's kind of lining up here. All right, it's definitely very strong. Everything's green here pre-market. So things are looking pretty good for its next leg up, right? We've been in a strong overall uptrend from the lows here, right? Just been going up and up and up. So we'll see, right? Just continue playing the trend. Continue playing this upward trend. So if this can hold 380.47, I do like potential calls for a move up to the highs here of 383 and then 384.7 or so, this previous resistance here, which is, let's see, 384.71 would be the exact level. So we'll keep an eye on that. SPY looks a little bit more choppy, doesn't look as good, right? You could draw it like this, kind of has a double bottom, right? This previous resistance acts as support, then we have this previous triple top, right? Resistance, which is where we're right below here in pre-market. It is up 0.75%, so it is strong. So if SPY can break through 456.43, I think we see that next move up. But I like to play consolidation breaks, and there's none of that here. So we'll see. SPY, I'm iffy about. Qs, I'm definitely a little bit more confident in. Netflix, I'll be keeping an eye on. Looks great, this setup here. Right, we have this kind of tightening flag into this previous support, right? Previous support, acted as support, and then a typical classic liquidity grab, right? Breaks through, reverses, and I would look for a breakout to the upside here. All right, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. We have this previous support here at 419.19. So if this can break, I think we see a pretty solid move today. So I'll keep an eye on that as well. I'll set my alert, and that way I will be notified. Microsoft as well, pretty much the same exact pattern, right? Off that key support / resistance, broke through end of day, and now it's kind of reclaiming that here. Zoom in a little bit. All right, so you could draw it like this. You could draw it, how I had it before. Pretty much the same pattern, but it looks pretty solid. You can even draw it like this too, right? If you really want to get down to it like that. So definitely looks pretty solid. Let me move all this. If anyone has any questions about any specific setups, let me know. But we can even draw Netflix like that too. It's a little steep. I don't really know if I like that too much, but I kind of like this a little bit better. Yeah. More of a fan of that. So Microsoft and Nvidia definitely keeping an eye on at open. Microsoft and Netflix, I mean. Nvidia's next. So Nvidia, right, we had that perfect flag break. Right, we had calls here. We sold at the open for 100%. And then we saw a move to the downside, kind of retested that previous breakout point. And now we're opening up 1.5%. So we'll see how it acts at the yellow line I have here, 464.5. So we'll see what happens there. But regarding, setup at open, not really interested. Tesla, very interesting. Previous support. Right, kind of held those lows as a triple bottom. And it's just hovering here. Right, there's really no setup though that I'm going to be looking at open unless it starts to reject this previous wedge that broke down. I would potentially consider it, but it's very strong today. Everything's very strong, so don't really know if I want to go short yet. Shop, no setup really. Google, nothing really there. Square, we can keep an eye on. Right, higher lows, lower highs. It's just trading in the middle of this range. Again, needs to break through, either a high or a low. Right, in between here, it's just probably going to chop. Right, that's pretty much what it's going to do in between this zone here. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'll set an alert at this 78.25 resistance, and we'll see how price reacts at that level. AMD also kind of looks the same as Square, right? We kind of have this big range that we've just been chopping in since, back here, right? Just sideways since. So we do have this previous support, right? Support, acted as resistance. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. So if this can break out 115.08, we got this right above. Right, so then that needs to break. Then once that finally breaks, I think we see a move back up to 122 plus, 121 plus. So not really, it definitely needs a little bit more time, I think. But it's too big of a range, right? I like to see when a wedge looks like, it gets super tight like that, right? Instead of these big swings back and forth. All right, the tighter the price action, usually the more explosive the move. So we'll keep an eye on this as well, though. Apple kind of looks like a rising wedge a little bit here. All right, kind of had that fake breakdown. This is kind of a little bit forced, but there's potential there. Right, we kind of have this double top, right? Rejected. So we'll keep an eye on this. This could definitely play out in next week or so, but this definitely has potential here. What's my green line on AMD? It's just this resistance, right? So this previous resistance, if this breaks, it should push through to 116.42. Yep, AMD has strong support down here as well, right? It's tested this zone now multiple times, right? So it does have very strong support, but it's very, very choppy, right? I like to see tight consolidation. BABA is also very interesting, right? We kind of have this high tight flag. It started to break down end of day. And we're sitting right at this resistance at 98.49. So, if this can break, we should see a high push. But we do have this resistance right above. Previous support, previous resistance. So I'll keep an eye on that as well. There's a lot to keep an eye on this morning. I'll set an alert in between just in case. Meta, nothing there. Amazon. Let's see, let's redo it. Right, so from this high, can't even draw like that. Can't even draw like that. just trading in this range also. Right, we have this previous double bottom, right? Support, kind of created this higher low. So we'll see. We'll see what this can do. This needs more time as well, just trading within this range. 259.9 seems like a valid resistance on Tesla. Above that, 262 could be next. Let's see. So the thing with this, right, we have this flag here. So we have this flag here, right? And we broke down from it. It's going to be tough to get back over, right? We have this previous resistance, previous support, acted as support here as well, and then it broke down. So in order for this to get back up, there's going to need to be a big push, right? There's a lot of, pressure. So when there's a lot of resistance above, it tends to not be able to break through. What kind of confirmation do I wait for? I don't do confirmation. I don't really believe in confirmation, right? Just because a candle closes over on a time frame that you pick doesn't mean it can't break through again. All right, so just before you get into a setup, you always need to have a plan, right? That's how you can be successful, is having a plan, based on probability, based on risk to reward. You need an entry price, you need a target, and you need a stop loss. Okay. So those are the things you need to keep an eye on. So Amazon just in that range. Coin doesn't really look like anything special. And Rivian, nothing really there as well. So that's the watch list at open. I'm going to keep an eye on Qs. And I'm going to IWM, no thanks. Right, total pullback, rejected that previous resistance, pulled back all the way back to the support. Q's right in the middle of the range, so we'll keep an eye on that. Netflix I'm keeping an eye on. Microsoft I'm keeping an eye on at open. I like it drawn like this better. Let's see. Just looks like too messed up. Yeah, we'll watch it like that. The video is like decent. And then Square we can watch too. Okay. So no really confirmation there, just having a stop loss on a price target. Qs are selling a bit. Not really. I mean, it's going to bounce back and forth. Right? It's not really meant to just go straight up. VIX. Take a look at VIX. So VIX just back in this consolidation range. All right, just moving sideways. AI, sure. This is definitely something I would avoid as well. Right, it's just been going sideways. Right, so you need to wait for that breakout. Once it breaks through 43, it looks fine. Which is funny because a lot of people have been talking about this a lot recently. And it hasn't gone anywhere. But I think Qs is my favorite setup this morning. Right, this previous support acted as resistance and it's sitting right there in pre-market. Regarding the indicator I have on the chart, it's going to be fixed today. So for anyone that wants to use this specific cloud, it'll be fixed today. Yeah, we have data at 10, but it's not that important. It's like a 2 out of 3 stars. the Michigan consumer expectations, sentiment, and inflation. Google's just kind of sitting up here. There's really no setup there unless it takes out low a day or low this yesterday, right? 128.32. AI just broke 43. It was supposed to break out. Then nothing's supposed to happen, so be careful of that. Right? It broke through. It doesn't. Right? This is why I don't really like confirmation. Right? Look. Let's see if you get most people say a 10 or 15 minute candle or something. Right? So a 5-minute candle broke through, held over, and then just broke down. Even a 15-minute candle did too. So you always just need to have a price target, stop loss, and that entry point. Intel, I think they had earnings, right? Yeah, they had earnings, and they're up to 36. They have this previous level at 37.11. But I don't like playing these gap ups. It's up 6.4% here. Did have a good breakout here though, right? Higher lows, lower highs, pushed up, test that resistance, pulled back, retested, and then now on earnings, breaking out. The cloud will be available later today. Just waiting for the developer to fix it. But he said he'll do it today. Just going back through to see if I like anything else. Looking at it at a second time. So BAB is up 3%. Let's see, 3 hours ago. They have earnings on August 10th. But that's really it. If anyone has any last minute questions, let me know before I hop out of here and get ready for the Zoom. Yeah, it'll be posted on TradingView. Like I have it here. So it'll be posted like that. No, there's no trials. You can click the link in my Twitter bio if you want to check it out. Trials just leads to scammers and spams being sent to every single member. No, I don't use unusual flow. What we could do on SPY is if it rejects 456.43 is play puts off this resistance. So that's another potential play we could do. I'm probably going to be looking at a Q's play, SPY, and then Netflix and Microsoft. More Netflix. I like to look at Netflix a little bit better. So 10 minutes market open. I'm going to head out and get ready for the Zoom. If anyone has any questions, you could send me a message in the Discord. I'll see you guys in the Zoom.